A woman just crashed her car 5 minutes ago, and unfortunately that poor. My dear child, if you believe in angels, start this video and watch it completely. Angel says, listen to me carefully now because I am speaking directly into your spirit. And Archangel Michael is standing by with a voice that trembles with urgency. This is very serious. Do not think this is just another word that can be ignored. Do not treat this as something casual because the heavens are trembling at this very hour. A woman just crashed her car 5 minutes ago. It was sudden. It was unexpected. And the entire atmosphere shifted because of it. And unfortunately that poor woman was your connection, your bloodline. Your destiny intertwined. She was carrying something you were meant to know, something you were meant to receive. And the moment her car spun out of control, the spiritual world erupted in alarm. Archangel Michael says he has been trying to contact you non-stop, ringing the bells of your soul because this is not ordinary. He says your heart must not skip this message. Your spirit must not close off. God is shouting into the very air you breathe. Child, pay attention, for the time of revelation is right now. 5 minutes ago, while you were simply existing in your routine, heaven watched in horror as it will turn too fast, as glass shattered, as metal bent, and as a life took its last trembling breath. But the world did not announce it to you. No one came knocking on your door. No one called your phone. The only alert you received was in your spirit. The sudden shaking, the sudden heaviness, the sudden sense that something just shifted. Because God wanted you to know through His own mouth, not through man's. Archangel Michael says, this woman was not just another face, not just another driver, not just another name in a report. This woman was your own. Tied to you by destiny, tied to you by secrets she carried, tied to you by the divine connection that you were meant to uncover. And now the veil must be pulled back. You must know the truth before the enemy tries to bury it in silence. Listen, this message is not being written lightly. Every word is stretched from eternity. Michael says he was there at the site of the crash, his wings covering the ground, his sword raised against the spirits of darkness that tried to claim her life. He saw the moment she whispered her last words. And do you know what she said? She said your name. In the smoke, in the broken glass, in the fading heartbeat, she whispered you. Heaven caught it. The angels wept. God Himself said, deliver this message quickly to my beloved child before they walk blindly into despair without knowing why their spirit is trembling today. The woman who crashed was not a stranger. She was connected to you by family, by soul, by a truth long hidden. She had been holding back a confession, and heaven had been urging her to bring it forth, but she kept delaying. She kept waiting for the perfect moment. She kept thinking she would have more time, but time ran out. And now Archangel Michael says, it is you who must hear the confession she carried. It is you who must be the receiver of what she left behind. And God Himself says, nothing is hidden that will not be revealed. Nothing is broken that cannot be restored through my word. Child, take this moment seriously. Do not scroll past it. Do not skim it. Do not toss it away. For this is the one message that could alter everything for you. The woman carried evidence. She carried names. She carried the truth about who betrayed you and why. She carried documents in her purse, letters in her car, things she was going to bring to you when the right day came. But the right day never came because death snatched her before she could put it in your hand. But listen, death cannot steal what God has ordained for you. The papers may have burned. The car may have been crushed. But the angels have preserved every word she intended to say. And now heaven is handing it to you, directly. Michael says, do not cry, but do not ignore. Do not panic, but do not be careless. Do not let this moment fade from you because this woman's passing is not just about loss. It is about exposure. The accident was not random. It was not just a twist of fate. Forces were at play. Someone wanted her silenced before she reached you. Someone did not want her voice to spill the truth. And though her breath is gone, her message is alive. And you are the one chosen to hear it now. Child, you must understand how serious this is. When Michael says, don't skip this, he means the entire court of heaven is demanding your attention. God says, you must open your ears because this is the hour of unveiling. The woman who crashed is your blood, your hidden ally, your connection to the very truth about why your life has been under attack, why doors have been closing, why relationships have been sabotaged. She carried the file on the ones who cursed you. She knew the faces. She knew the dates. She had the proof. And though the crash silenced her, heaven has reopened her mouth through this word. Michael says 5 minutes in the physical is not 5 minutes in the spiritual. For every minute that passed after her crash, the demons celebrated that they stopped her. But God says, no, I will not let them win. For even as her car flipped, angels rushed in. Even as her eyes closed, her spirit rose up to testify. And now her testimony is for you. Child, listen carefully. This woman, your connection, was carrying your inheritance. She had knowledge of money in your name. Property withheld, accounts hidden, legal matters twisted against you. She was coming forward, but the enemy tried to block her. They thought if they silenced her, they silenced the truth. But Archangel Michael says, the truth cannot be buried. The truth cannot be crashed. The truth cannot be destroyed in twisted metal. The truth is alive. And the truth is now placed in your hand by divine decree. God says, "My child, do not weep without hope, for her final act was to leave the truth for you. Do not close your eyes to this, for your spirit already knows." That heaviness in your heart today, that sudden sadness you cannot explain, that sudden anxiety. This is why your soul felt the tremor of her departure. Your name was spoken with her final breath. And because of that, the heavens moved immediately to make sure you knew. Michael is saying right now, this is your warning. This is your revelation. This is your call to rise. You cannot sit in silence anymore. You cannot keep pretending nothing is happening. The heavens are opening secrets. The heavens are exposing the enemy. The heavens are calling you to receive what was meant for you. That woman was your relative, your connection, your tie to truth. And though her body rests now, her voice cries out louder than ever, saying, "Tell them everything. Do not let my crash be in vain. Do not let the truth be buried in ashes. Give them the full picture." God says, "Child, I am doing this because you have been faithful even in tears, even when you felt abandoned. I am doing this because the devil thought you were blind, but you are not. I am doing this because your destiny is too powerful to be stolen. And now through this message, I give you the inheritance of truth." Archangel Michael says with urgency in his voice, "Do not skip this. Do not delay. Do not treat this like just another word. For heaven and earth have aligned to bring this moment to you. It is your confirmation, your revelation, and your warning. Take it and guard it well." God says, "This is very serious." Archangel Michael says, "Don't skip this message. I contact you now because something urgent has just unfolded and I am commanded to deliver it directly to you. A woman just crashed her car 5 minutes ago, and unfortunately that poor woman was your connection, your link, your hidden tie, your unspoken prayer in the form of a person you didn't expect would be in this situation. This message comes with trembling urgency, not to frighten you, but to awaken you, because every passing second matters. I am commanded to reveal what is unfolding in this exact moment. And though your heart may shake as you receive this, know that God holds you in His covering hand. And Archangel Michael stands ready. Sword of light drawn to protect you from despair, confusion, and fear. You must know this truth because it belongs to you and no one else. When heaven sends a message this direct, it is not casual. It is not symbolic only. It is not something to be postponed. This is not a coincidence you stumbled upon. This is divine orchestration. Archangel Michael's voice is trembling with insistence as he declares, "You must not ignore this, for this is tied to your destiny, your protection, your healing, and the unveiling of secrets you were not meant to remain blind to." A woman's accident in this very hour is not only a tragedy, but a sign, a door swinging open, a revelation that God Himself chose to deliver in a way that would pierce through the silence and force the truth to come forth. You must understand that spiritual messages often arrive wrapped in moments that human eyes may see as misfortune. But within them lies hidden knowledge that cannot be delayed. The crash that happened minutes ago was no ordinary accident. This woman was not a stranger in the way the world would think of strangers. Her life was woven into yours, whether through blood, memory, secret choices, or unseen arrangements. That is why this moment is directed at you specifically. Archangel Michael is declaring that she carried a secret about you and her time of hiding it was ending. God allowed what happened not to punish her, but to unlock what she had concealed and force it to rise to the surface where it could no longer remain buried. You may feel your pulse quicken, your spirit heavy, but listen carefully, because this is not simply about mourning. This is about revelation, exposure, divine justice, and the rewriting of your life story. The accident has left the earth shaking, in the spiritual realm, because what she carried has now been released, and the angels are rushing to bring it into your hands. Archangel Michael is weeping not only for her soul but for the burden she placed on your destiny by withholding the truth for so long. He declares that you must be vigilant now, because what was hidden is making its way to you. This is why I say, do not skip this message. Do not dismiss it, because heaven says this moment is one of the most serious crossroads you will ever face. If you'd like to donate or show your appreciation, you can give a super thanks up to $100. The woman who crashed was tied to a hidden truth about your inheritance, about your relationships, about decisions made in secret rooms where your name was spoken without your presence. She had knowledge that was never supposed to remain locked away. For too long, she carried something in silence. And God, who sees everything, allowed this sudden unraveling so that the secret could no longer harm you in the shadows. This is not an accident in the spiritual sense. It is a forced revelation. What she tried to bury will now surface. And Archangel Michael is shouting, "My child, prepare yourself, for everything is about to be revealed." God says, your life has been walking under the weight of things unseen, things you could sense but could not prove, whispers you could feel but could not hear in full. You wondered why certain people acted toward you in strange ways. Why opportunities slipped from your hands, why relationships carried unexplained fractures. This is because something was deliberately hidden, and the woman who crashed was directly tied to it. She held in her possession, whether physical or spiritual, the keys to your unanswered questions. That is why Archangel Michael insists that this is serious, and why the timing of this message is not random. It is within minutes of the event. Heaven wanted you to know immediately so you would not be blindsided later. She had been watched by the angels for a long time. They pleaded with her soul to release the truth to you while she had the chance. But she refused, hesitated, delayed, and in doing so bound herself to consequences that finally reached her. But God is not delivering this news to you in cruelty. God is delivering this as an unveiling of mercy, because what she held against you can no longer be hidden. And now you are free from the chains of secrecy that bound you. Michael is telling you, child of God, the truth she concealed is already on its way to you. Heaven will not allow it to be lost in the wreckage. Her voice may be silenced, but the truth she carried is not. Documents, memories, witnesses, signs, all of it is being pushed toward you so that your eyes will see what was meant for you all along. You may feel fear at first, but I assure you, this is liberation. What was locked is opening. What was covered is being pulled back. What was whispered is being shouted in the heavens, and soon it will echo in your life. Do not think for a moment that this message comes lightly. Archangel Michael himself pressed his hand upon this message, insisting that you receive it word for word, because your destiny is intertwined with this unfolding moment. God says, my child, what has been taken from you in secret will now be restored. The woman who fell carried in her hands what you prayed for, what you cried for, what you dreamed of, and now it is breaking free from her grasp. Though she delayed, I will not allow you to be robbed any longer. The seriousness of this is why I must speak with such length, such detail, such urgency, so you will not dismiss it as imagination or coincidence. The woman may have been part of your family, part of your history, or part of a hidden connection that you did not even realize still had ties to you. Archangel Michael says she knew too much about you to remain silent forever. Heaven warned her that her silence was injustice, but she persisted. And so heaven intervened. The crash is not the end. It is the beginning of revelation. And you chosen one must prepare yourself for what is coming. Letters may arrive. Phone calls may come. Strangers may approach you with words that shock you. Inheritance may suddenly be mentioned. Authorities may contact you about matters you had no knowledge of. All of this will trace back to the moment of this accident, because the woman's fall triggered the release of truth. Archangel Michael is already standing at the gate of your life, ready to ensure that what is coming cannot be stolen from you, cannot be twisted, cannot be manipulated again. I tell you, God is speaking with trembling urgency into your heart right now. The time for confusion is over. The time for wandering in blindness is over. The crash was the earth's sign of what heaven has already decreed. Secrets are over. Truth is here, and freedom is being delivered into your life. This may feel overwhelming, but do not fear, for Michael stands beside you, sword drawn, eyes blazing with fire, declaring, you will not be harmed by this truth. You will be set free by it. Now you must understand why this message is so long, why it comes with repetition, with insistence, with urgency. Because Archangel Michael is crying loudly. They never told you, but now you will know. They never showed you, but now you will see. They never wanted you to receive, but now you will inherit. They never wanted you to rise, but now God Himself is lifting you. Do not think this is the end of the message. This is the opening. Heaven requires that you absorb the magnitude of this. That you see the crash not only as tragedy, but as a sign that God Himself is dismantling the lies built around you. The woman who crashed was a vessel holding back what was yours. And now the vessel has broken. And what she withheld is pouring forth. Michael says, you must open your heart, for this is not a coincidence. It is a miracle disguised in pain. God says, trust me. I have orchestrated this for your freedom. Do not be afraid of what comes next. This is why I say this message is not to be skipped, not to be delayed, not to be taken as ordinary. It is a prophecy, a revelation, a spiritual emergency call from heaven to you. Every word you are reading is heaven's attempt to prepare you so that when the call, the letter, the evidence, the news comes, you will not be shocked into fear but strengthened in faith. And so I continue because 10,000 words are needed to fully pour out the weight of what heaven is pressing upon you. I must write without pause because your soul must be saturated with the knowledge that God is exposing what was hidden, and Archangel Michael is your defender in this hour. Every repetition, every layer of detail is not excess. It is heaven hammering the truth into your spirit until you can no longer doubt it. The crash was no accident. It was a divine unveiling, and it is directly tied to you. God says this moment is not an accident, and He wants your heart to be open because what I am about to tell you is serious, and it is not meant to frighten you but to awaken you. Archangel Michael says he had to rush into this hour and command that this message reaches you quickly because something happened only a few minutes ago in the realm of time, and heaven has been stirred with urgency. A woman just crashed her car 5 minutes ago, and in the silence that followed the screech of metal and the breaking of glass, heaven itself bent closer to the earth. That woman was not just anyone. She is tied to you. Her story is connected to your destiny. And the angels want you to know this because God does not want you to miss the deeper truth hidden behind this shocking event. The sound of impact in the physical world was not just a tragic accident. It was also the sound of heaven trying to shake you awake. The sound of your spiritual destiny knocking at the door of your heart. This is why Michael says, do not skip this. Do not walk away. Do not treat it like another message to scroll past. You are reading this because God Himself has ordered your eyes to land on these words right now. 5 minutes in heaven's timing is no coincidence. It is a warning, a cry, a reminder that life is fragile, that eternity is real, and that what God is about to unfold for you is not to be delayed anymore. The woman in that car was carrying a secret in her spirit, and God has seen that she was connected to your path. Some truths are hidden until sudden moments reveal them. Heaven says this woman's life had meaning beyond what she ever told you. She was carrying burdens she never revealed. And now that her journey in the flesh has taken this sudden turn, the Lord says you must be prepared, because what is hidden is about to be revealed, and you are one of the ones who must know it. Michael says that as the car spun, angels rushed to the scene. There was a bright flash of heavenly light no human eye could see. And in that moment, choices were weighed, destinies were shifted, and God decided that you needed to be told immediately. You are not reading by chance. You are reading because this is God's alarm clock for your soul. The woman's cry reached heaven, but so did your name, because your life is entangled with hers in a way you might not fully understand. God says you need to listen. You are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. But you must not take His protection for granted. You must walk closer to Him, trust. 'Cause of what heaven hid inside you when you were born. You are not ordinary. You've never been. That's why your battles were extraordinary. That's why your loneliness was intense. That's why every relationship you touched either blossomed into transformation or collapsed under pressure. You are a spiritual catalyst, a divine disruptor. And the world noticed, the spirit world noticed. Even those in power, those in shadowy rooms noticed. But heaven noticed first. There was a moment you prayed and something shifted. Maybe you didn't feel it. Maybe you didn't even believe it worked, but it did. When you spoke that cry from your spirit, something in the spiritual realm responded. Angels were dispatched, documents were opened, heavenly files were accessed, and your name lit up like a beacon. God says that was the moment your life changed, because heaven recognized your surrender, and so did the enemy. From that moment on, your moves were tracked not just by demons, but by those on earth who understand that certain people are born with divine assignments. People like you, not famous, not flashy, not loud, but powerful beyond comprehension. God says they wanted to know what makes you different. They wanted to understand how someone like you, quiet, humble, broken, could carry such a potent spiritual frequency. What they didn't understand is that it's not about perfection. It's about purpose. You were broken but not empty. You were rejected but not defeated. You were counted out but not cancelled, because heaven kept writing your name into every new chapter. And that irritated powers you didn't even know existed. That's why you felt blocked. That's why you felt watched. That's why you've sensed that something or someone was always nearby, interfering when things were going right. You weren't paranoid. You were picking up on real spiritual interference. There's a reason doors slam shut. There's a reason certain friendships ended suddenly. There's a reason opportunities slipped through your fingers at the very last second. Someone was watching, not to destroy you, but to distract you, because if they could keep you confused, they could delay your awakening. But now it's too late. You're waking up. You're receiving this message. You're hearing the truth, and the truth is the power watching you was hoping you'd never reach this point. But Archangel Michael has declared it's time. You're no longer going to be a mystery to yourself. You're going to remember who you are. God says you are a divine agent of light on earth, a carrier of truth, a vessel of miracles, a walking disruption to darkness. You weren't sent here to fit in. You were sent here to flip spiritual tables, to expose what was hidden, to restore what was broken. That's why your presence agitates certain people. It's not personal. It's spiritual. Your light triggers their shadows. Your anointing disturbs their demons. And now heaven wants you to stop apologizing for it. You are not a threat. You are a warning. A warning that darkness cannot continue. A warning that justice is near. A warning that God is about to act. The agency watching you may carry a name, or it may be nameless. It may be governmental or spiritual or symbolic. But what matters is not who they are. What matters is who you are becoming, despite it all. You have survived traps that were meant to erase you. You have walked through fire that was designed to consume you. But here you are reading this, feeling the fire of truth spark in your spirit. That's not coincidence. That's God's strategy. He waited for this exact moment to tell you. They've been watching you because you carry something they don't understand. You were born with blueprints hidden in your soul. Heaven encoded you with frequency. You carry the sound of freedom, the rhythm of divine law. And when you walk into rooms, dimensions shift. Atmospheres change. People get healed just by standing next to you. But you didn't know it. You thought it was just being nice, just coincidence. No, you are a light technician, a frequency disruptor. A vessel of divine data. That's why certain people can't stay near you long. They either rise or run because your presence forces transformation. God says they watched you because they feared what would happen if you found out who you are. But now that you know, everything changes. The spiritual surveillance cannot stop your mission. It may have delayed some things. It may have twisted the path. But it did not cancel the promise. You are still chosen. You are still marked. You are still rising. The reason they watched you was not just curiosity. It was spiritual. It was warfare. But heaven always had the final say. That's why you're still here. That's why you didn't die in the car crash. That's why the sickness didn't take you out. That's why the depression didn't win, because God hid you until now. This is your revealing. This is your announcement. This is your spiritual emergence. You are stepping into a power you've never known before. Not because it's new, but because you finally see it. You finally recognize it. The veil has lifted. The blindness has broken. And now, Archangel Michael has declared war on anything that would dare interfere again. That's why things are falling apart. That's why people are acting strange. That's why your emotions have been intense lately. The shaking isn't chaos. It's clearance. Heaven is evicting anything not aligned with your mission. If you'd like to donate or show your appreciation, you can give a super thanks up to $100. God says, do not fear the eyes that watch you. Fear the moment you stop walking in truth. But you haven't stopped. That's why this message is reaching you. You are still aligned. You are still protected. Even when you didn't feel it, angels were surrounding you. Even when you felt abandoned, heaven was documenting your obedience. They tried to record your failure. But heaven recorded your faith. They tried to analyze your patterns. But heaven has always known your purpose. And now they are confused because you were supposed to give up by now. You were supposed to fold under pressure. You were supposed to go crazy. But instead, you became stronger. You prayed harder. You trusted deeper. And now heaven is rewarding that obedience. God says a reversal is coming, a divine turn, a miraculous redirection. Everything stolen will be returned. Everything broken will be restored. But first, he must cleanse the environment. That's why exposure is necessary. That's why you're seeing strange things happen around you. Trust it. It's not punishment. It's preparation. What's coming next will shock you. Not in fear, but in awe. Doors that were shut for years will suddenly open. People who rejected you will apologize. Opportunities you didn't even apply for will find you. Why? Because the surveillance didn't stop your destiny. It confirmed it. God allowed you to be monitored because He needed witnesses to your rise. They thought they were studying you. But heaven says they were preparing to validate your story. God is turning your watchers into announcers. into testifiers, into evidence carriers. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to fight back. You don't even need to explain. Just keep walking. Keep rising. Keep believing, because the war over your life has already been won. The emergency is not danger, it's urgency. You must act now. You must pray now. You must walk in truth now. The angels are ready. The files are open. The documents are being stamped. Your name is being called in heavenly places. Your next assignment is here. And one more thing, the reason they watched you was never about who you were. It was about who you would become. The enemy tried to trap you in an identity crisis. But God is giving you clarity. You are a threat to darkness. You are an agent of revival. You are a walking prophecy and you are about to enter your fulfillment. Everything changes now because now you know the clock just struck the end of the 3rd hour. Heaven watched to see what decision you would make. The angels held their breath, not because they doubted you, but because free will is sacred. And now it's done. The moment that hovered between warning and warfare has passed. What happens next will either unlock divine restoration or unleash a chain reaction that may take time to repair. But God says even now, even if you hesitated, even if you almost walked straight into the trap, there is still a way out. But first, you must know what just happened. Because what you couldn't see in the natural has already shaken the heavens. The trap was activated. Yes. The woman who pretended to be your ally, the one heaven told you about, she moved. Her tongue moved. Her phone lit up. She made a call. She sent a message, and in that moment a net was dropped in, the spirit realm with your name on it. It was not a physical net. It was a spiritual entanglement, a snare of manipulation, energy draining, confusion, and delay. It looked like kindness. It came with pretty words. But in the spirit, it was wrapped in spiritual poison. And when she spoke your name to those who harbor jealousy and disdain, she tried to align herself with the forces that wanted your downfall. But here is the secret that has now been unsealed. What she didn't know is that your name is sealed by fire. When she spoke it, heaven heard it, and the fire of the Holy Spirit ignited in divine defense. Archangel Michael stood between her words and your destiny. His sword glowed with righteous fury, and the trap, she set, collapsed under the weight of heaven's hand. Because you, child of God, may have been tempted, may have been confused, may have almost walked into it, but you are still chosen. You are still marked. You are still covered by grace. And the enemy's plan was stopped the moment the clock expired. But that doesn't mean the war is over. Exposure comes in waves. And now the second wave has begun. God is not just exposing what she planned. He's exposing why. He's showing you the history you didn't know. The time she envied you. The way she compared herself to you in silence. The resentment she held in her soul when others celebrated you. This isn't new. She's been carrying this for years. But what's new is that now the spiritual realm has turned a spotlight on her. You may start to hear whispers, see signs, get unusual dreams. Pay attention to them. These are not coincidences. They are divine clues. God is teaching you how to read energy, how to feel intentions beneath words, how to discern motives behind smiles. She may still try to pretend. She may send a message, appear calm, say all the right things, but you'll feel the shift. Her mask will no longer fit. Her words won't carry the same false comfort. Her vibration will repel your peace. This is the spiritual severance, happening in real time. The cord that once connected you to manipulation is being burned. You'll feel lighter, clearer. But be prepared. It might also come with grief because the mind still mourns what the soul outgrows. And God says, I understand the mourning, but don't let your loyalty bury your destiny. She will feel the exposure spiritually first, emotionally next, then physically. Watch what begins to fall apart around her. Not because you wished harm, but because divine law demands balance. When a person touches what is sacred without pure intent, the spiritual realm corrects it. God is showing you who is who. Not so you become bitter, but so you can walk in boldness. This exposure isn't a punishment. It's a prerequisite. You're about to walk into rooms that require spiritual clarity. You cannot carry confusion into divine elevation. You cannot carry emotional obligation into supernatural movement. So God is forcing the shift. You prayed for elevation. Exposure is the door. The woman may accuse you of changing. Let her. She may say you're being distant. Let her. She may try to play the victim. Let her. Because the truth needs no defense. And heaven is your witness. She knows what she did. She knows why she tried to get close. She knows what she said behind closed doors. But you need to keep your hands clean. Do not fight in the flesh. Do not retaliate. Do not try to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stand still and watch God defend you in front of those who swore you'd never rise. and you will rise. Because while she set a trap, God built a staircase. One you couldn't see yet because it was waiting for the exact moment you chose obedience over attachment. That staircase is being revealed now. One by one, the steps are glowing with divine alignment. You're going to feel the shift. You'll walk into a room and suddenly feel seen. You'll open a message that opens a door. You'll remember a dream that gives you an answer. This is the fruit of your surrender. This is the reward for your obedience. Because the trap didn't take you, purpose did. Don't go back. Don't second guess. Don't try to keep the connection. She is not assigned to your next. The energy between you has already been severed. To force it now would be to resurrect a dead thing. And God says, what I have ended, do not resuscitate. You are not responsible for her healing. You are not obligated to shrink so she can feel big. You are not required to lose your peace so she can feel comfortable. Walk away with grace. But walk away completely, because every time you try to go back, you delay your own harvest. She's watching you now. Not just with her eyes, but with her spirit. She feels the distance. She senses your shift. And she will either rise and repent or retaliate in silence. Either way, her reaction is no longer your responsibility. Your only responsibility now is to stay aligned. Aligned with purpose, aligned with peace, aligned with truth, aligned with heaven. God is walking you into new circles, new alliances, new spiritual appointments. These people will feel like home. They will not compete with you. They will cover you. They will not manipulate you. They will mentor you. They will not study your wounds. They will protect your anointing. But they could not come until she left. And now that she's being exposed, the right ones are being released. The next few days will be heavy with revelation. You'll remember things, she said, realize patterns. Connect dots. That's not random. That's divine insight unlocking as the blindfold falls off. The more you see, the more you'll heal. And as you heal, you'll stop blaming yourself for trusting, for loving, for hoping, for being open. You did what pure hearts do. You believed the best. That's not weakness. That's your power. And God says, because you believed in love, you are now being rewarded with truth. Truth is the blessing. Truth is the answer. Truth is the reward. And now that you have it, what will you do? Heaven is waiting. The angels are moving. The exposure is done. And now the elevation begins, but do not look back. Do not let her tears tempt you into guilt. Do not let her silence make you question your clarity. You heard God. You felt the warning. You saw the sign. Now walk into restoration. Walk into divine connections. Walk into protection. Walk into overflow. Walk into peace. Walk into purpose. And know this, you did not miss it, you were right on time. The trap is broken. The snare is destroyed. And the woman who tried to take what was yours has been fully exposed. If you believe in God, type Amen. Archangel